Yazi mina ngiyakhumbula isikhathi eside kakhulu esidlulile ngafika la neGoli, and for the first time ngahamba ngayodla lunch. Kwathi nangifika lapha ngabona into engijabulisa kakhulu because I saw a menu that was not completely made out of chicken in a crispy fried coating. Hey, kwakuhle kakhulu because the owner made it even much better by personally coming to me and tendering to my every need. Yep, you guessed it right. Namhlanje ke sibheka the food service industry, particularly the career of a restaurant owner. A restaurant owner is basically the person who, well, owns the restaurant. And as opposed to other industries, restaurant owners are usually the ones who run and manage the business personally. Now, an incredible palette coupled with making sure that your clients receive best food and service means that you will always be going back to that restaurant. Plus, you let all your friends know about the awesome experience you had there. Kumanje, let's take a quick look at what a restaurant owner does.
Look, I mean, firstly, like in any business, you know, first it starts off by you having the concept, the idea, and putting it into a concept on paper, you know, and scrutinizing with this idea. Does it really work? You know, and then obviously there are processes of you finding the location. It becomes tricky in an element, Yoguti. Once you have found the location, when you go for funding, if you don't have your own money to set up, it's a prerequisite to the funder that you guarantee which you are really going into this thing. So you sign the lease agreement and you go to the funders with the lease agreement. The processes it takes sometimes for this funding to come out, you find that sometimes it takes a bit long. You are paying monthly rentals. Do you understand? So that becomes a bit of a challenge. Going into the industry is it's an easy entry into the market. But obviously you have to do your due diligence. Is this concept going to work? Why do you think this concept is going to work? And then take a risk.
I'm sure, you know, every business in a highs and lows, and there's always, you know, the nitty-gritties that come with being in business. And I'm sure for Nina, having zonkele indalezi nizranayo more phecelezi isofathanda esikuyo namhlanje. What are the challenges that you guys encounter having this operation and establishment running?
Currently, I mean, the turnover of staff, number one. I mean, this is not a very skilled industry. It's an industry where people are always on transit. Maybe they're on their travels, they want a next ticket to where else, or maybe they need education, they need just money to be able to pay for their tuition. So it gives a high turnover of staff, you know. You've trained so many people, you put your time into training people, and the next thing, the person is shut off to the next step.
Yeah. So
it becomes a problem where you're investing all these resources into this, and tomorrow morning, no person is there.
Yeah.
That's a major challenge.
The retention of staff has always been a problem in our industry. I won't deny that. What you can do, what we're trying to do, and I think I can appeal to everybody out in the restaurant industry, is to try and revolutionize how we will do it. I think for our country, it will also be a good thing where we start making careers out of this type of industry. You'll see in Europe and in many parts of the world, these are careers. Guys earn salaries from it. They get put on incentives. I don't believe that there's any reason why we should not be looking to do that. In this way, you'd be investing time again, but also investing a little bit more money into them in terms of a structured salary, an incentive, bringing in different types of perks that can feel that they are loyal to this company and have a future within that company. In terms of ownership and getting the establishment up and running, there are various licenses and legislative obligations that you need to first overcome. You know, being your accounting, your CIPRO stuff, from your registration of your company, the health requirements, SAMPRO, which is your music sort of entertainment side, your liquor license, probably the most important. All of those type of things are really prerequisites before you can open, and you'd rather have that, your ducks in a row first before you start.
Like most people who go to the big city to study and hustle, my first job in Joburg was as a waiter at a restaurant. Mina bengicabanga ukuthi umsebenzi wami unzima, but the owner had it worse. Yabona ke ama-restaurant owners, mina bayangichaza, and they are my favorite kind of entrepreneur because they often do the bulk of the work bubona. Ngichaza ukuthi you'll often find them behind the stoves, making sure that the food is top quality. always arriving first and leaving the last, the restaurant owner is the one dedicated person. Mawucabanga ukuthi the fact that how much they earn is completely dependent on how successful the restaurant is, you start to understand better. Manje ke, for that reason, it is difficult to put a price on what the restaurant owner can earn. If his business thrives, then so does he. Esikhathini esiningi, the restaurant owner will oversee the day-to-day runnings of the business. They will also be involved in managing the business and managing the finances of the business. They will make sure that all the raw materials are available and will see to it that all the staff members are doing what they're meant to be doing ngalesikhathi ekumele basebenze ngaso. In fact, the volume of work for a restaurant owner is dependent on who he employs and for what role he hires them. If he employs less people, he works more, and vice versa. Kodwa-ke, being a restaurant owner is often a lifetime job. However, if the owner works really hard, they can achieve great success, which can help them open up other branches of their restaurant in other places. They can even end up building such a successful chain of restaurants that other interested entrepreneurs will want to open their own branches. This is called franchising and is the ultimate measure of success in the food service industry. But it is a lot of work. Kumanje, let's take a look at what the day in the life of a restaurant owner looks like.
So now, you know, most people would say, okay, fine, Minangi is cool, you know, you and your brother rana yonke into, so that means nyangena ngabo 11 niyape good kwenzakalani niyaphuma niyavaya. Amarolu wenu njengoba nila niphethe zonke le ndawo eninazo, because bear in mind, you guys don't have Justice of Fire Town, Kospotong, nalezi ezinye indawo futhi enisazozivula because Kospotong ayikho yi-1 yabo. Ama-roles wenu maniza la ekhaya from ekuseni makuvula iminyango nenzani?
Look, initially, they see vala, and eventually, you know, you have to develop our systems. Our head office is operational now, and we're relying on systems from your operations system, you know, to your finance system and various systems that we heavily rely on, because obviously you can't split yourself into two.
Yeah.
But the systems can assist in ensuring good you are there when you're not there, and you know, and you have your checks and all those things. It's not a big head office. There's currently the HR ladies there, a bookkeeper, you know, obviously me and my brother, and then we receive information from the various stores as we expect to receive it, and from there we're able to check if it's into Sambagahle, if it needs cleaning, are you able to pick up where the red spots are and so forth from the various data say collector. If you're gonna go into anything, you need to know where your shortfallings are in the industry. And the shrinkage, my restaurant, you know. What it is I'm able to, when I receive stock, it's called goods received. You enter into the system, and every time you sell the item, it pulls out of the goods received. So at the end of the day, when you do your count, it tells you what you're over. When you do your stock count, you're able to say, look guys, I'm short here and there, and people in those various departments must be held accountable. The reality of this industry is more than 50% of restaurants will fail in the first 6 months. I'm not too quite sure about the statistics, but they're very high. So if you are going to look, research is important, speak to people in the industry, find out what their pitfalls were, what you need to look out for, and read a lot, you know, because you do have a dummy's guide into how to open a restaurant. And maybe you might want to get a job as a waiter, as a barman, because I mean, I was a waiter from 17, my brother since he was 15, and I was in matric, I started waitering. I was a barman in my travels, you know. So I know exactly where and how, you know.
Since we're dealing with ukudla, and I'm sure akhona maybe ama-boards afana ukuthi abantu kumele uregister nabo, people who come through day to day, maybe whenever beza bazo-check nezinto ezinjalo. What are the, you know, ama-boards akhona for one to register a company yakhe, to say, okay, I've got a restaurant, I'd like to register it with abo banibani board so, and then nabo health banibani ngifuna ukuregister nabo, or do you just say, hi, sengivulile ngikrenda?
From the top of my head, I'd say if you're going to open up a restaurant, initially the things you're going to need are you're going to need your CK document. You're going to need approval from fire, from health, from waste. That's environment. Can you pick it up?
Yeah, I will pick it up.
Pick it up. Certificate of acceptability for your kitchen. Your trade license. You need to be able to have a trade license as well. Liquor license. So I mean that's a pretty good start, and I think you have those things covered. Look, you need to have a layout of the plan of the restaurant. Your fire escapes. You need to have your fire equipment serviced regularly within a year's period.
Yeah.
And you must have these things in place because the department, if they do work in here, because they do have their rates whenever, if ever. If they come in here and your restaurant is full, and these things are not in place, they'll say, guys, you'll shut your shop now. And because obviously you must be sure that your guests first and foremost are protected.
Yeah. Manje, akukho impossible to become a restaurant owner without additional education. If you have the money, the property, and all the tools and equipment you need, you can certainly become a restaurant owner. However, getting the relevant education is a much better way of ensuring success. For instance, in high school, you could select subjects like travel and tourism, business studies, accounting, and maths to help you wire your business-savvy mind. You could then also go on to study hospitality and restaurant management at various institutions like the University of Johannesburg, which has a dedicated hospitality department. Other recommended institutions include the SA Chefs Association and Tshwane University of Technology. This will give you qualifications that will make it even easier for you to start by managing someone else's restaurant while you save money to start your own. And yes, experience really is the best teacher in this regard. So working your way through different departments of different restaurants will help you get ready for your own. The entire food service industry runs off passion and saute onions. So if you are thinking of a career as a restaurant owner, you have to be passionate about food and passionate about serving it to people. A successful owner will need to have a strong character and leadership abilities. They need to be excellent communicators and also have incredible analytical skills to deal with the business side of things. It is a very stressful industry and the hours are long, but the rewards are great, especially if you have the passion for it. There are very strict health and safety regulations in this industry, and it is important that everyone that works for you follow these rules. A restaurant owner works long hours, often working from the time the restaurant opens until it closes late at night. And this can happen every day, 7 days a week. So from maintaining the business books, the business premises and the business assets to hiring and training the entire staff and personally managing the day-to-day runnings of the business, a restaurant owner definitely has a lot of responsibilities. However, the rewards are great.